I can still smell the orange blossoms that bloomed every spring on the land my father left me after he passed away. It sat near a quiet lake, a place tied to my childhood, riding bikes, picking fruit, feeling the sun on my face. That land wasn't just dirt and trees. It was my father's final gift, a piece of him I could still touch. I loved him dearly, and losing him broke my heart, but the land kept his memory alive. My Uncle Marvin, Dad's brother, was a sly one growing up, always twisting tales, but we forgave him for family's sake. When Dad died, Marvin offered to manage the land while I moved to the city for school and work. I trusted him to care for it. Before he left me, Dad said something I'll never forget. "Elena, keep the land. It'll be worth more than money someday." I didn't get it then, but I promised him I would. The city had a way of pulling me in two directions at once, connected to its rhythm yet somehow adrift. My fifth-floor apartment was a small sanctuary, its walls lined with photos of my family, Dad's gentle smile watching over me from a frame on the shelf. I was hunched over my laptop, crunching numbers for a marketing deadline, when my phone buzzed. Uncle Marvin's name lit up the screen, and I answered with a grin. "Hey, Uncle Marvin, how's everything?" "Elena, sweetheart," he began, his voice low and urgent. "I've got bad news about the land your father left you." My stomach dropped. "What's happened?" "I've heard from some contacts, reliable ones, that the area's about to be rezoned. They're turning it into some industrial mess. Once that happens, the land won't be worth a dime. You need to sell it fast before it's too late." I clutched the phone, my mind spinning. "But Uncle, that land, it's Dad's legacy. You really think it's worthless now?" "I hate saying it, Elena," he replied, softening his tone. "But I'm trying to protect you. Lucky for you, I've got a buyer lined up, a business associate of mine. He'll give you $10,000 cash, quick and clean. It's not much, but it's better than losing it all." "10,000?" I echoed, stunned. Dad always said it was worth more. "Times change," Marvin said smoothly. "I've checked with experts. This rezoning will kill its value. Trust me, I'd never steer you wrong." I hesitated, staring at Dad's photo. A pang of doubt hit me. Should I check this myself? But Marvin's voice pressed on. "There's no time, Elena. He's ready to sign tomorrow. Don't wait and regret it." He sounded so sure, so concerned. Uncle Marvin had always been there when I needed advice. "Okay," I said finally. "If you think it's right, I'll do it." "Good girl. I'll send the papers. Just sign the authorization. I'll handle the rest." When the documents arrived, I spread them across my kitchen table. The city's hum faded as I scanned the pages, full of terms I barely understood. Something about a third-party sale stood out, but I brushed it off. My pen hovered as I recalled Dad's pride in that land, but Marvin's warning echoed louder. I signed my name, Elena Thompson, and mailed it back. Later, I sank onto my couch, gazing at the skyline. A weight lifted. I'd let go of the land, but I felt free. The $10,000 could be a fresh start. I smiled faintly, trusting I'd done the right thing. Uncle Marvin had my back, didn't he? It was a rainy Tuesday morning when I stumbled upon the article that turned my world upside down. I was sipping coffee in my cramped city apartment, scrolling through the news on my phone, when a headline stopped me cold. "Massive investment pours into lakeside area for luxury resort development." My pulse quickened as I read on. The location was unmistakable. It was the land Dad left me. The article claimed its value had skyrocketed to nearly $1 million. $1 million! I nearly dropped my mug. Uncle Marvin had convinced me it was about to become worthless, zoned for industrial use. How could this be true? My hands shook as I dialed Marvin's number. It rang endlessly. No answer. I tried again, leaving a frantic voicemail. "Uncle Marvin, it's Elena. I saw the news about the land. What's going on? Call me back." Hours dragged by with no reply. I called again, straight to voicemail. My stomach twisted. He was dodging me. By nightfall, I tried one last time, only to hear a robotic voice. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." He'd blocked me. I couldn't sit still. I threw some clothes into a bag and caught the late bus back to my hometown, my mind a storm of questions. The ride was torture. I stared out the window, watching the city fade into fields, replaying every word Marvin had said. "Trust me, Elena," he'd urged, pushing those papers at me. Dad's voice echoed too. "Keep the land? It's our future." I'd failed him. Had Marvin planned this all along? When the bus dropped me off at dawn, I headed straight for the property. My heart sank as I neared it. A tall fence now encircled the land, and a bold sign declared, "Eco Villa Area, Marvin Corp., under construction." Marvin Corporation? My uncle's company? I felt sick. This was Dad's dream, our legacy, reduced to some rich man's playground. I stormed to Marvin's house, fury propelling me. He was in his study, papers spread across his desk. "What have you done?" I shouted. He looked up, smirking. "Elena, nice of you to drop by, checking out the progress." "Progress? You said the land was worthless. I sold it to you for $10,000, and now it's worth $1 million? Under your company?" He leaned back, chuckling. "You caught on. Yes, it's mine now, legally. You signed the papers. It's all black and white." "You lied. You said it was for industrial zoning." "Business, Elena. You wouldn't have done anything with it. Now it'll make us rich." "Us? You mean you. You betrayed me. Your own niece." He shrugged. "You should have been smarter." "How could you do this to Dad's memory?" I begged, voice breaking. "Your father was a fool," he sneered, standing. "He didn't see opportunity. I gave you something, $10,000. Take it and be grateful." "Grateful? That's theft," I cried. "Call it what you like," he said, eyes cold. "It's mine now. Fight me, and you'll lose. My lawyers will bury you." His words crushed me. He was right. I'd signed it away. I stumbled out, tears blurring my vision. The sky had turned gray, matching the void inside me. I'd lost Dad's land, my trust in family, everything. Betrayed by my own blood, I was powerless. After storming out of Uncle Marvin's house, I walked without direction, my mind a whirlwind of anger and despair. Before I knew it, my feet had carried me to the orange grove, the place where Dad and I had spent countless mornings together. The air was thick with the scent of citrus, a bittersweet reminder of simpler times. I could almost see Dad sitting under the large orange tree, his favorite spot, sipping coffee and watching the sunrise. As I stood there, his voice echoed in my mind. "If there ever comes a day when you don't know what to do, come back to this tree." A spark of hope flickered within me. Maybe Dad had left something for me, a clue or a message. I knelt down at the base of the tree, my hands trembling as I began to dig into the soft earth. At first, I felt foolish. What was I expecting to find? But something urged me to keep going. After a few minutes, my fingers brushed against something hard. My heart skipped a beat as I unearthed a small, rusted iron box. With shaky hands, I pried open the lid. Inside, there was a folded letter, a document, and a USB drive. I unfolded the letter, recognizing Dad's handwriting instantly. "My dearest Elena," it began, "if you're reading this, it means you've come to the tree in a time of need. I'm sorry I couldn't be there to guide you, but know that I always believed in you. I've always struggled to show my emotions, but never doubt how much I love you. You're strong and capable, and I trust you to make the right decisions." Tears welled up in my eyes as I read his words. Even in his absence, his love reached out to me. Next, I picked up the document. It was a copy of the inheritance contract, but as I read through it, I noticed a clause highlighted in yellow. The land can only be transferred if the heir, Elena Thompson, consents in writing with her own hand. No power of attorney shall be accepted. My breath caught in my throat. I had signed a power of attorney, not a direct consent. Did this mean the sale was invalid? Hope surged within me. Finally, I took out the USB drive. I hurried back to Mom's house where I was staying and plugged it into my laptop. There he was, Dad, sitting in his study, looking serious but kind. "Elena," he said, "if you're watching this, it means something has gone wrong. I need to warn you about your Uncle Marvin. He's always been ambitious, sometimes to a fault. I fear he might try to take the land from you. That's why I added the clause in the contract. Only you can decide its fate, and it must be your decision alone. If you ever need help, go to my old friend, Mr. Johnson, the lawyer. He knows everything and can guide you." I sat back, tears streaming down my face, but this time, they were tears of hope. Dad had protected me, even from beyond the grave. The next morning, I took the box and its contents to Mr. Johnson's office. He was a kind man with gray hair and a warm smile, just as I remembered. After I told him the whole story and showed him the evidence, he nodded thoughtfully. "Elena, your father was a wise man. This clause is ironclad. The sale to Marvin is invalid because you didn't consent directly. With this evidence, we can definitely challenge the sale in court. You have a strong case." For the first time in weeks, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could get the land back. After discovering Dad's hidden safeguards in that iron box, the letter, the USB drive, and the contract clause requiring my handwritten consent, I knew I had a fighting chance. With Mr. Johnson, my lawyer, we filed a lawsuit against Uncle Marvin. Our case rested on two solid pillars: fraud and conflict of interest, since he'd secretly bought the land through a middleman, and the violation of Dad's inheritance condition, which his shady power of attorney couldn't override. It felt like loading a slingshot with the truth, aiming straight at Marvin's lies. The courtroom was a storm of tension. Marvin's lawyer tried to twist the story, claiming I'd signed away the land willingly, too caught up in city life to care. But Mr. Johnson was relentless, presenting the clause in black and white. Then Marvin took the stand, his voice dripping with venom. "Elena's ungrateful," he spat. "She abandoned her father's legacy." Each word was a dagger, but I gripped Dad's letter in my pocket, its creases grounding me. I wouldn't let him rewrite my story. The tide turned when Mr. Johnson played Dad's video from the USB. Hearing Dad's voice again, calm, steady, warning about Marvin's greed, silenced the room. Even the judge leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as Dad explained the clause. Marvin's smug mask cracked, his fists clenching. After hours of deliberation, the gavel fell. "The contract is void," the judge declared. "The land reverts to Ms. Elena Thompson." A rush of relief hit me, but then she added, "Mr. Marvin Thompson, you'll face further investigation for similar fraudulent acts." His head dropped, the fight drained from him. Stepping out of the courthouse, I breathed free for the first time in months. But the real victory waited elsewhere. I drove to the land, now mine again, and walked into the orange grove. The air was thick with citrus and memories. Standing beneath the big orange tree, I closed my eyes. A breeze brushed my skin, and I swear I felt Dad there, his quiet strength surrounding me. Tears came, tears of joy, of justice reclaimed. I hadn't just won back the land, I'd restored my honor and trust in what's right. "Thank you, Dad," I whispered. "I'll keep this place alive for you." After winning back the land from those who tried to take it, I stood in the orange grove, the sweet scent mingling with the breeze. Sell it? Never. This land wasn't just property, it was Dad's breath. Memories of days he taught me to tend each tree. I decided to turn it into something special. A small resort tucked among the lush orange trees, paired with an educational farm. I wanted kids to come here, dig their hands into the soil, learn about agriculture, the environment, and see that life isn't just about skyscrapers. It was how I'd keep Dad's legacy alive. Mom moved in with me soon after. She said she wanted to be near Dad, and I knew she didn't just mean his ashes. Every morning, she'd tend the grove, her frail hands trimming leaves, watering roots, as if speaking to him through each branch. I built the resort slowly, quaint wooden cabins, winding paths between rows of trees, and a wide space for kids to run free. Before long, the place buzzed with life. Families came to rest, and children delighted in planting seeds, picking fruit, watching bees hum around the blossoms. One radiant afternoon, my niece Lily dashed through the grove, her curly hair bouncing. She stopped abruptly, her clear eyes fixed on me. "Aunt Elena, why don't you go to the city and get rich?" Her voice was innocent, but the question made me pause. I knelt down, brushing a leaf from her hair, and smiled. "Sweetheart, wealth isn't just money. This land holds memories of your grandpa, love that grows like those oranges, and the most valuable lesson Dad left me: the truest riches can't be counted." She blinked, then grinned, racing off again. I watched her, my heart light. Dad must be smiling somewhere. This land wasn't just saved. It was living, breathing, and so was I.